Hello, Clarice. What up, Squadron? I think I used that one last time, but that's okay. It's a good term. I'm going to keep using it. It's your boy, Adam Pax. Here we go. Rock for a 2. That's not bad, actually. I hadn't put that little abbreviation together, but here we are. Another enticing, seductive reproduction of Requiem for a Tuesday. We're getting close to double digits next episode. What a long way we've all come together on this journey. Isn't it beautiful? I like to think so. But yeah, Rec for 2. That's not bad. Maybe that goes like fourth in the line on shirt design ideas. Somebody come up with one. Give me a Rec for a 2. What does that mean? I don't know. Maybe something. We'll see. Uh, you'll have to forgive me if I go a little wild today. As you can tell by the excitement in the tone of my voice, pretty caffeinated. Went with the coffee instead of the sedative like I usually do. Usually I'll do a little rip. Maybe one or two, sometimes three, and that's when you get the wonkier styles. Today I went caffeine because it's a little bit earlier than usual, and I think that should boost my rant level up at least one notch. Couple notches, maybe two notches. Couple notches, two notches. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. First thing that came to mind when I was thinking of things to say. Here's a little bit of insight into how maybe just my brain operates. So I was thinking, like, how do I, what kind of coronavirus material can I come up with, right? And not surprisingly, the answer was slim to none. Slim to none. Because, there really just isn't anything good. But the first thing that came to mind was, like, how do I do a bit about washing your hands? Because apparently, okay, you know what? Before we dive into all that, let me just get straight to my quick little thoughts on that, and then we'll get into whatever I was talking about. I think the whole thing is being blown out of proportion. There's just too much internet. And, everybody calm the fuck down is really all I'm saying. Take your precautions. Absolutely. I mean, it's good to know that a thing is spreading. But at the same time, it's like, everybody seems to be pretty fine, for the most part. Like, there's a lot of stuff already, like, just let's pump the brakes on this a little bit. Just say, like, hey, just wash your hands. It'll be good. Don't fucking eat someone's tongue and you should be fine, you know. Don't hot swap saliva with, somebody whose nose is running. I mean, it's really, just chill. Shouldn't you actively be trying to not get sick all the time? You know what I mean? Like, your behavior should always be, how do I not contract viruses from other people? So, I mean, just keep that up or start. Maybe now's just a good time for everybody to start understanding that you should be avoiding getting sick, period. That should be your goal, always. So, if you're already doing that, then I think odds are you'll make it, But who am I to decide? I said that kind of sarcastically, but literally also who am I to decide? So, if you are concerned, please continue to do so and don't let me sway you. I mean, you should, because I'm right, but don't, because of, like, laws and stuff. So, don't do that. But back to what I was going to say. So, yeah, I was going to try to do, like, an intro thing about, like, washing your hands, but then the first story that came to mind, there were two stories that came to mind that are kind of connected loosely, but the first one is somewhat related to the hand washing stuff. So, I remember very distinctly. I already take back the distinctly because I was about to say I don't know where I was. So I remember the situation very distinctly. I want to say that I was at the Rosemont Theater. I want to say that I was seeing Chris Rock. I want to say that I was 6 years old. Okay. Now, all of that may very well be an interesting combination of things, but the story I want to tell takes place in the bathroom, naturally, as all great stories tend to do. Think about Reservoir Dogs. They got that right, you know, convinced all those gangsters. Um, but yeah, I just remember there was like a dude in there. Okay, so it was like me and my dad went to pee, and then whatever. I finished first, he finished first. I don't know what happened. I'm old enough that I know how to navigate a bathroom, just don't go far from the bathroom, but you don't got to watch me. You know what I'm saying? Like that era of life where like somebody should check to make sure you leave, but like, you know, you don't got to be in there. Um and yeah, whatever happened, I just know there was a dude that worked there that was next to me, and he was just a real happy, like in a great mood, great spirits guy, okay? And I remember he had a very large afro. Like it was at least 6 inches from his scalp. Like it was enough that I was like, yo, you know what I mean? Like I was like, that's what's up. You're really rocking it. Because I mean, even now, let alone then, like they just never made a comeback. And I don't know why. I mean, it must be a pain in the ass, right? Anytime my hair gets longer than like 4 inches, I'm like, Jesus. This is way too much for me to deal with. I'm getting greasy by 5 p.m. It's like, when am I supposed to take a shower? I haven't been home. You know what I mean? So it's got to be something like that. But yeah, it was great. And I think he had like, he had like a vest on and pants. It's like a theater, so they make it seem like the place is real nice. You can wear whatever you want into the thing. I've never understood any place that has like super fancy uniforms, but then the place itself doesn't have a dress code. It's like, what are you making these people parade around in these ridiculous outfits for? You know what I mean? Because they're not getting paid shit. Just because people are spending a lot when they're there doesn't mean you have to create this illusion of grandeur or whatever the fuck it's called. You know, let me, let them wear what they want. Put a name tag on. Like, give an indicator. There should always be an indicator that somebody works at the place that they work at, I think. But, Jesus, people making $8 an hour wearing fucking tuxedos to work, uncomfortable beyond all belief. Um, and then you gotta feed these rich people and get treated like shit, but you got a fucking tie on. I don't know, whatever. So yeah, it was one of those scenarios, and then I just remember the dude was like, he was either washing his hands himself because he had to use the restroom, or he was like filling up like a towel thing. But I think that since he was in that suit, he was just using the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like any guy who comes and does bathroom duty probably has like a janitor suit. But I don't really know. I don't know the mechanics of the thing. I know that he was just at the sink with me. Well, kinda. So basically, he was at the sink. I walk past the sink. I beeline it for the door. Okay, I'm a small child. Okay, I am. I'm bathing on a regimen here. This isn't, you know what I mean? I'm not at a point where it's like you pick your bathing. You're bathing daily, whether you want to or not. Uh, and I didn't, but I did. So you know what I mean? I'm clean. I have no hair on my body. Everything is clean, okay? The point that I'm getting at is if I'm going to take a piss, I can fucking walk out the door. I'm a child. You know what I mean? There's no fucking like 8-year-olds, however old I was. You know what I mean? I was single digit years old. I don't got dirty dick running around. I've always found that so stupid and illogical to me. Like, first of all, you can take a piss without touching anything. And if you can't, you need to work on your mechanics because sometimes you're going to be in a bind and you're not going to be able to get it out a traditional way. Maybe that's where I've learned it. I've always just panicked that I'm not going to be able to do things normal. But I'm just saying, like, you can totally avoid, like, ever touching your dick when you're taking a piss purely, especially in a urinal. So this whole illusion of, like, go wash your hands, I mean, this doesn't reflect well upon me right now. I realize that, but it's about the principle of it. I'm just saying, like, if you genuinely didn't do anything extra, you know what I mean, then I don't understand, like it's good practice to just wash your hands anyway, I guess, consistently. Sure. Sure. I'm just saying there's no extra reason to other than you probably just should be washing them. Like, I'll give you that one. But you know what I mean? So then, especially when you're a kid, I mean that now. Like, there's plenty of times I can go in there, boom, like nothing but net. You know what I mean? My hands stayed just as clean. Like, I could wash my hands first, then go take a piss. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't make it seem like because I took a piss that my hands are now dirty. They either already were and still are, or they weren't and still aren't. There we go. But yeah, so I mean, especially when I'm a little kid, like I extra don't give a fuck because like I don't even understand what any rules to anything are or why they're in place or whatever. So I'm just walking out, and I just remember seeing this dude in the mirror, like soaping up, doing all the lathering and whatnot. And I just remember, hey, little man, like big smile, huge, pure white teeth, like the whitest teeth you've ever seen, perfectly straight, beautiful smile. Okay, I don't know how this man's working at the theater and not performing on the stage because, like, right there, just him lighting up was pure magic. Okay, and he's like, "Hey, little man, aren't you gonna wash your?" And then that's all I heard because I let the door close because I was leaving. And as let's say I was between 6 and 8, as that young of a child, even then I was like, damn, I just did that dude so bogus. And I felt guilt. And I felt bad about it, like the rest of the day and still to this day. That's why I remember the story. That's it. You know what I mean? Like it probably didn't affect him at all. He's probably like, damn, that little kid's dirty as hell. Like right as the door closed, he was probably like, all right, whatever, fuck me, right? Like that's a thing. But like that stuck with me because that dude was like, "I need to wash your hands," and I'm like, man, why is everybody gonna pressure me to do this? I think that was part of it too. Like as a kid, I was like, man, everybody's giving me all this shit all the time. I can't handle this much pressure. Everybody's always telling me how many things I gotta do. Leave me alone. Let me rebel. Maybe I don't want to wash my fucking hands, Derek, or whatever that guy's name was. And that reminded me of a second story that is similar in that I disappointed another black man. Now this time around, we were at an arcade. It may have been an arcade within an amusement park. Either way, that's not relevant. This one's a little bit quicker. So we're just in the amusement park. Basically, this dude was interacting with someone, loved it. Or, again, was just in a great mood anyway, beforehand, whatever. And this dude's smiling ear to ear, maybe laughing a little bit, and we make eye contact from across the arcade. Not very far, not like one wall to the other, but like I'm in the middle, he's against the wall, And I don't smile for people usually. Now, if it's like a work setting, formerly a school setting, or a family thing, sure. Like when the social situation is personal and like dictates my behavior, sure, I'll throw on a little fake smile to fit your little societal code, because I guess I'm a sociopath based on what I just said. But that's okay, accept everybody. And so yeah, I don't like to do that, like earn your shit. I don't like to smile in pictures. If I do it ironically and I do a dumb thing. I just don't see why you should fake that. And I guess other people just smile more naturally. And in my head, everybody's faking all their smiles in like photos and stuff. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's not. Whatever. But so I just don't. So like if somebody looks at me and smiles like on the street, probably won't smile back. I think that is insane behavior. Sidebar story within a story. Here we go. I remember one time I was visiting my boy when he lived in Boulder, Colorado. Me and my other boy were walking to the store in the morning, right? We're just walking down the sidewalk. Sidewalk. I wonder if that's like a Sopranos thing. You know what I mean? Like, you got to kill a guy while you're trying to kill a guy to cover up the fact that you were trying to kill that guy. Sidewhack. I told you that coffee would get to me. We're going into Inception level storytelling here. So, we're just minding our own fucking business, just walking to where we gotta walk. You know what I mean? Like, sorry that sidewalks are public, but what we're doing is what we're doing. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's just a Midwestern thing. Maybe that's just a city thing. I don't know. But people tend to disagree with me when I talk about stuff like this. But like, if I'm doing a thing, leave me alone. You know what I mean? Like, who are these people to talk to me? Like, unless you're like doing a thing, I just don't understand it. You know, maybe it's polite society, maybe it's good. I don't know. All I'm saying is you can leave someone alone and you can talk to someone, and both times you can respect them. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be neighborly. It's not like, saying. Anyway, the point is we're just crossing paths, and they're like, we're like stuck at a light with these people now. However it lined up, like we both had to cross. Like, they came towards us, but then we both had to turn at the same spot or whatever. And they're like, "Good morning," and like, I don't say a word, because naturally I'm just like, my thing is if you just ignore someone, they'll stop. That's how you get away with strangers. Get away with strangers. That's how you get strangers away. I don't know. That's how you get left alone. You just don't speak. Because otherwise you can escalate or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, they're like, "Good morning." My buddy, of course, being polite, is just like, "Morning." And then they're like, "Where are you?" Like, asking a bunch of questions, like, where you guys up to? Like, where are you from? We're heading out doing this. What are you guys doing today? And I'm like, whoa, 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 bro. Did we happen to run into the only people we know out here? You know what I mean? Like, did we happen to run into mutual friends that are also on vacation in the exact same neighborhood you know what I mean? Like, no, I don't know you. Why is this interesting to me? Just please leave me alone. But anyway, so the point that I was trying to get to was that I don't like things like that. So like, I wasn't like super smiley. I'm not like, "Oh, hey, good morning. It's about time somebody asked." I was walking by all these other people just saying, "Hey, how are you?" And nobody would answer me. It was driving me insane. I was just waiting to have a conversation with somebody I'll never speak to again for no reason. And then that interrupts the conversation I'm having. And then, okay, so it interrupts the conversation I'm already having. That bugs me. Then I got to like fake a whole thing. That bugs me. Then they leave, and I don't know where I'm at in my previous conversation. So naturally, I'm going to talk about that interaction just happened. Then I look like the asshole for saying, "Look at these assholes for interrupting us," and like doing all that thing. And then the response is almost always like, "What? They were just being nice." And it's like, yeah, they were, but we were talking about something, and clearly you don't value our conversation, right? So maybe, yeah, I think I'm just insane. But I mean, this is what I got to deal with all the time. And so that bothers me. So anyway, back to the original OG second tier story. Yeah, we're making eye contact across the arcade, and that dude just keeps his like little like his real big like laugh, like little laugh smile, potential laughter, and I just had a straight face already. His smile did not make me smile, and I just held eye contact. I don't know. I think that's just a kid thing, because now, like, I barely want to make eye contact with anyone. It's pretty rough, which actually I'm going to get into. And, yeah, the smile just slowly went from ear to ear and down to, like, a frown almost, but, like a soulless, like, holy shit, dude. And I think I bummed that guy out. That one I like saw his face afterward, so that's why that one stuck with me. But yeah, I just keep disappointing these people at places who are just trying to be nice, and I'm just a kid. Life is a nightmare. Shout out to Simple Plan. All the songs are the same, so if you like one of them, you'll like all of them. Which actually isn't that bad of a selling point now that I think about it. Absolutely horrendous to listen to. Sounds good in practice. Maybe they're band practice even. But that sounds good on paper. It is not. So, leading into what I was trying to get to, and I'm glad that that worked out, was I've been trying some new stuff. uh, so pretty much, as I had mentioned, kind of panicked out, freaked out about being old. And I'm not, I get it, but I panicked. So I kind of just forced a lot of changes. So yeah, and it all happened to work out really well, which validates all of this decision making that I'm about to say. This totally could have gone horribly wrong. So, I mean, I like to think I made a really calculated choice. But like for a minute, I'm about to explain the whole thing, but like for a minute, I was like, damn, I fucked this up. And then I got like double validated. It was pretty sick. But yeah, so this could easily not be applicable in many situations. I just happened to really strike gold at the right amount of time. But it was preceded by a full on existential panic and dread. So, which is still lingering there in the background, by the way. You know, it doesn't go anywhere for me ever. Some days it just really comes to the forefront. So yeah, I don't know. I absolutely despised every single second at my now previous employer. And while there, I would just spend all day there, like on a computer. Basically, I worked alone to not really do much other than like 2 hours a day. Like I had to do manual labor 2 hours a day, and then just kind of fuck around and like find a way to kill time the whole rest of the day. Now there were plenty of meaningless, stupid, lazy people things that I didn't do because I was lazy. You know what I mean? But like a bunch of like, little minute, tedious bullshit things you could do that don't really matter. I don't really need to get into it, but there was just like a bunch of, you know what I mean? Like I could like grab a duster and like dust, but that, like for me that takes 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like I just don't have a thing. So anyway, and then the other option was like talking to people, and I definitely wasn't trying to do that. So I would just like sit on a computer and like, apply for new jobs all day pretty much, and, do whatever the fuck. I just couldn't, you know what I mean? I was just checked out. And so the first thing I did there was like, I like signed up for some stuff, like basically a class on how to approach stand up 101. So my thing is, I'm terrified. So I was hoping that it would somehow, you know, like help me understand, like give me a method on how to be comfortable with that. And I don't think that it'll do that after going to the first one that I just did. But it's still something to do, which is what I'm getting to. So anyway, the point is just that I signed up for it. It doesn't really matter. I shouldn't be doing the podcast first. I should have been doing that first anyway. But if I never do it, I may never do this. So I kind of had to do this. Okay, so don't judge me on that. But anyway, so the point is I did that, and then like it was like 2 months out. It's not like, oh, you start this week. So it was kind of just something to look forward to, but then like things just kept getting shittier and shittier, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And one day I was just like, fuck it, I'm not dealing with this, because it definitely contributed to everything that I was feeling already, because I absolutely despised it, so like it made everything else feel like a waste, right? So I just dipped, like not really with a plan. Like I knew my tax return was coming, and I knew I had a check like the next day. So I was like, I can make it like 2-3 months, like if I have to. You know what I mean? Um but yeah, I just dipped, and luckily I lined the thing up pretty quickly, and I still haven't started yet. I took like 3 weeks off. But just cuz I kind of could. But I'll get to that. So anyway, along the timeline. So yeah, I just kind of dip, and then I'm like, fuck, it feels great to be free. Like that first week of liberation is phenomenal. Um, and yeah, so like I got a check, and then I got my tax return, and I'm like, okay, this is great. Like we're stacking for the long run. um, standing on a cop's truck. But from there, I just kind of started like chilling pretty hard at first, like treat it like a little vacation, and then like a little bit of panic sets in, and then like you start getting a couple bills, and then you're like, fuck, maybe I'm gonna run out of money a little sooner than I thought. And then I was like, fuck it, I'll skip like my student loan bill because that's like more than half a stack, and fuck it, I don't want to be paying it anyway. I ended up doing it because I caved because I'm too nervous. I never miss a thing. I got the credit score booming. I can't be losing it. Anyway, so I start to panic like that, and I'm like, shit, man. I was like buying stuff, like I was chilling real hard, and I like didn't have a gig lined up, and then all of a sudden I had a gig lined up, and then all of a sudden, I forgot that like checks like you work 2 weeks like a week behind your thing or whatever. So I had a full another check coming. So I'm like, okay, well, I now have more money than I did when I even started doing this whole thing, and I like paid off my credit card, blah blah blah. So basically everything just worked out super perfectly, and I was able to like sell one of my instruments and swap it out for like something that's better suited for me. And then boom, next thing you know, I'm starting that class. Then boom, next thing you know, like I ordered a yoga mat, and I'm like doing YouTube yoga, like chilling, and it's just like boom, everything just like completely flipped from where I was at because I was just like miserable. Right? You know what I mean? Like I was just going from like work to home to like, you know what I mean? Just bummed that I had to get up to go there, bummed that I'm still there, bummed that it takes so long to get back. Then I'm like bummed I got to go back the next day. You know what I mean? And it would just like be the cycle cuz like thinking about having to work again next destroyed me. But okay, we have finally arrived at the point. That's why I was kind of stammering through that because I was trying to get to here and then was forgetting exactly what happened. So, the one really big downside, I'm not going to say that it was all fucking peaches and cream and I was chilling, other than like the financial freak out, was um, it's also very, very sad to just be fully isolated. So, like, yes, even though I worked by myself, I didn't really talk to anybody there. I was still like leaving the house, like was still having some interaction with somebody, you know. But after a while, and then like it's just easy to stay inside, I guess, is the big difference. It's like at least there, like it like forced me to leave whether I wanted to or not, right? Because here's the thing, like I love being out, but I also love being in. You know what I mean? Like I could do either, but there has to be a reason to go out. There's no reason to be in. And that's the big thing, is that I could and ended up just staying in for days on end. And it's like, okay, well, I can't really spend money, so I can't go like basically anywhere. And it's cold, so I don't really want to. And then the next thing you know, it's like, Jesus, would somebody please just hit me up? Right? So before you know it, you're like trying to contact anybody who may have anything to say. Ooh, having a little malfunction here. Okay, we're good. And yeah, you just get kind of almost desperate for like just some kind of contact. But at the same time, you also kind of get accustomed to it. Because the reason why I brought up that I was doing that class was it was like I almost was like I might not go. Because it's super easy once you're home with all your stuff. If you got food and water, you know what I mean? It's really easy to just be like, nah, I'm good. Especially with like phones, TV. Like I have infinite amount of entertainment here. It's warm here. Blah blah blah. Like I can give you a bunch of reasons. And it's really easy to just say like, nah, fuck it. Nah, fuck it. And before you know it, it's like, oh, I've been bailing on like everything. And because like especially like when you don't have a thing to go to, 5 days a week, it's really easy to just not go to anything. So that's a thing that I kind of struggled with, and I was glad that class was starting, because it was a reason to get out of the house and actually like talk to somebody too. Like they forced us into like a name remembering thing. It was as much for our benefit as theirs, and it was cool. It was a cool idea because I think that's like I guess jobs can't really do it because people don't start at the same time. But I think that like in a school setting, it also made sense to do like name exercises because it could take months sometimes. Like depending on who's who and what's what. And like that's the worst part. And these are short term classes, so it made sense that they did all that. But like, yeah, I don't know. Just like the hardest thing easily about being out of school, period, is you don't meet anybody unless you are a social butterfly. Or if you're like, good looking or whatever. But fuck those people. Anybody that's good looking can go fuck themselves. Uh, but yeah, I mean, you just can't unless you're able to do it. And as a shy, anxiety riddled possible Jew, I'm throwing it out there, until I get a 23andMe, I'm going to say it's possible. Okay. Uh, then I'm definitely not going up to anybody. You know what I mean? So I mean, just like a reason to get out and a reason to like talk to somebody is dope. I mean, hopefully the real goal is that I actually get something out of it. Absolutely. I'm not there for any social reasons necessarily. I guess that's just a nice additional reason to do it. You know what I mean? I definitely put a thought into that. It's like, well, if any of my 4 friends are busy, I'm probably staying in. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. It's just there's just a weird social pressure, like I talked about, like being raised with the tech. It's like I don't know who's cool to hit up now. Like, is there a bunch of people just sitting at home hoping that somebody texts them? Because I don't know how to gauge it. And then you know what I mean? And I rather just not hit somebody up, or then like you hit the wrong person. And you know what I mean? And there's just all this weird digital social pressure that's unbelievable. And that I would like to get rid of. But there's nothing we can really do about that. I guess, just being more comfortable, just spewing it out there. But yeah, the real thing that I was like focused on was just trying to do shit different. It's like, as dumb as that sounds and as easy as that stupid sentence flowed out of me, I mean, it's not as easy as it seems. Like, I've been off taking my vitamins for like 2 months, and it has become a habit now not taking them. And every time I remember to go take them, I'm not in a place where I'm able to go take them, and then I don't. And next thing you know, I'm just still not taking my vitamins. So like, once like, a habit is hard to break, period, whether it's a good one or bad one. I think we all know that. But like, I accidentally fell out of one, and it became a habit to not do that habit. So like, even the ones that I want to do, I can't. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a person of polar extremes, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, again, apologies for a jumbled mess on here. I fucking learned right away that I probably shouldn't be slamming a fucking mega coffee right before this, because now I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm stammering through this whole thing. It's like I got the meat sweats over here. I think I should start taking something. Maybe I should pop a ketamine before one of these, and you can like listen to me doze off live, Then I'll cut it down after the fact. It'll end up being like 14 minutes long. Maybe that'll be more entertaining. At least then I'll potentially speak in coherent sentences without jumping around like I'm fucking Zathura. I never saw the movie, so I don't know if that's an accurate thing. But I feel like they bounce around. But I don't really know. What are you going to do? But I digress. Whatever I was trying to say, I don't really know. I think I was maybe trying to inspire somebody with something. But I don't know. Basically, I was just like, fuck it. Like, at what point am I just going to, like, take charge and, like, do what I want to do? And I decided that time was now, because it won't happen later. So, yeah. I mean, if you can financially time everything properly, I recommend switching shit up. The only thing that I'm upset with myself for is that I am not taking my vitamins. And I haven't gotten better at brushing my teeth either. I'll admit that firsthand right here. Fucking drives me up the wall brushing my teeth. And I just never fucking do it. Not never. Sorry. But I'm not hitting twice a day. You know what I mean? And I'm certainly not flossing. I just can't. I don't know what it is. It's like I could be in the bathroom and I could like look at my toothbrush. And I could be like, oh shit, didn't do it. And I'm like, nah, I'll get to it later. And then I just don't do it some days. You know what I mean? Like in that exact scenario, I'll still just be like, fuck, nah. Somebody else will do it. You know what I mean? And I don't know what that's about. So those are my two things that I need to kick into shape. But yeah, I mean, like I just started switching it up, doing things I felt like I should have been doing. I guess little progress is some. It took pretty grand gestures for me to change my thing. Maybe you can do it subtly. This isn't meant to be an inspirational thing anyway. Like I said, I'm just wired on that fucking caffeine. So if you think you just wasted a bunch of time listening to this fucking idiot ramble on about nothing forever, then I apologize. And yeah, that either went really well or it felt as stupid as I feel for trying to do it right now. You know what I mean? It's like you either won first place, like it's like when they said La La Land won the Oscar, and then the dude ran up like hype. You know what I mean? I feel like that guy. I feel like that guy. I either feel like that guy right before he got up there. You know what I mean? He's like, oh shit. Or I feel like that guy right after he read it was like, oh fuck, not me. You know what I mean? Can you imagine how much that guy's stomach dropped? You go from the greatest feeling probably you've ever had in your life. You know, I haven't had a kid, but I imagine winning an Oscar feels a little bit better. I'm just saying. You're going through a lot when you're having a kid. Winning an Oscar is like just positives. But I guess if you're in movies, you got the money. You should be fine. You know, the nanny will raise the baby. Whatever. But yeah, imagine that moment. It's like, holy shit, sweet, sweet victory. And then you're like, oh, fuck, no. Warren Beatty just ruined my moment that I shouldn't have even had. Like, I could have at least felt like shit in my seat, you know? How did that guy even stay standing? You know what I mean? Like, my knees would have just started, like, trembling, and I wouldn't have known what to do. So he handled it like a champ, absolutely. Became a meme, completely just worthy. Just worthy? Is that a word? Anyway, somebody let me know, you know? Where's my dictionary guy? Where's my producer / Google man that apparently everybody has? I would love having a Google man on deck because every time I try to Google something, or woman, but every time I try to Google something, I get I can't talk and type. Who knew? Like I can do it conversationally, but I guess when you put the big lights on and you press the big red button, you know, I just can't handle the pressure of trying to do two things at one time. You know, maybe I'm just that hyper-focused into this, you know, so let that be a lesson for everybody. I am putting in the effort, whether you like to think so or not. But yeah, I could not imagine that moment, and I don't know why I'm bringing it up now, like it just happened. But that was the first analogy that came to my head, and it's just like you're elated. I cannot stress that enough. How great you must be feeling, and then they're just you get up there, and you're the one who's like, "No, I didn't win. Are you stupid?" But props to that guy for handling it. But yeah, so that's how I feel about that whole little middle part there. I either feel like I won or like you took it all away from me. So if you want to take it all away from me, you know, it's your fucking prerogative. But it's pretty rude, bro. Okay? Don't be Warren Beatty is all I'm trying to say. Don't Warren Beatty me. I had a moment of weakness. And I tried to do a thing. But yeah, no, take charge of your shit. Don't fucking who cares? Everything's gonna work out. And even if it doesn't, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like unless you don't have a fallback plan and you're like, yo, if I run out of cash, I can't go stay at mom's house. You know. I don't mean financially. I got no financial backup. So I just have a savings account. So I guess that counts. You know what I mean? But like I don't have anybody who's about to pay my rent. I just knew that I was good for like 6 months. If it really got that desperate. But I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to get a gig anyway. That's not really the point. I'm not saying go quit your job. Unless you want to, then you should. That's what I'm saying. You know, If you want to do something else, just go fucking try. If you can, unless you got a kid, that ruins everything. Or even a wife. Don't get married, don't have kids, and then go do whatever. That should be the new national anthem because that's real advice. It's not. I mean, also do whatever you want if that's what you want. Go do that. That's you know that's what America should be all about. Instead, it's do only these 5 things and make sure you let us know about it so we can take the proper amount of money. Anyway, let's not get political here. Am I right, fellas? Boy, this is what happens when you only prepare like 10 minutes worth of stories. For some reason, I really thought that whole thing would drag out a lot longer. But what are you going to do? Now it's time for me to think on my feet. Act natural. Live vivaciously. I want you to live vicariously. Okay? But not through me. Because that would be a really waste of time. A really waste. This is where we're at. We can't even fucking talk anymore. This guy's a clown. This guy's a fucking clown. Speaking of which, just did another rewatch on Goodfellas. Let's dive into that. Because I think that there's a lot to talk about. I mean, obviously, because that movie's still a fucking huge deal, but there's a few things that I realized. This is probably my 4th or 5th watch, second within a couple months. So the first takeaway that I have now, I guess. So would that make it the first one? It's probably like my 10th takeaway at this point. Let's not get into the semantics of it. Let's just dive right in, shall we? Ray Liotta's performance gets better and better every time I watch it. The first time I saw that movie, I thought he sucked, and I did not like the movie because I thought he sucked. Now, that was a long time ago. We're talking a decade at least, okay? So fuck that opinion right off the bat. I think he crushes it, and if you don't, too bad. I don't like looking at him while he laughs, but that's not his fault. That's not anybody's fault, so I'm not going to call that a sufficient criticism. That's just a personal thing that I object to. 2, I thought that they put emphasis on the wrong parts of his childhood. Now, I think they showed enough. Well, okay, so not the wrong parts. I guess that they took too long on certain parts and didn't show enough of the end part. So the whole beginning, pretty cool, drags on a little bit. The kid wasn't very good. And, I got the gist of it. You know what I mean? They didn't need to show that much. They could have cut it down a little bit more, maybe a little more montage-y. Whatever. Maybe the reasoning was deliberate. Maybe they just wanted to show all the parts they want to show. Whatever, I'm fine with it. But I think that him working with Jimmy and, him getting, with Joe Pesci's character, as kids, I think that we could have saw a little more of them together in youth. Now, the reason why I want to cut some away is because I don't want more of him as a kid. So whatever. But I just think showing them work together a little better, or a little more, would have worked better to show what. I mean, I guess it implies that they had a good rapport the whole time, and that's why they're still so close. But to just imply that part of it's a reason why I think all of their relationships are kind of hollow and empty. Now, I get that they're gangsters, but it's supposed to be a family, and they're supposed to be the closest people, So that's why they react so intensely when he gets whacked, when Pesci's character gets whacked, because they've been spending all the time together. So I don't know. I just don't think that that's reflected well. Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's why Henry was so eager to flip on him, because since he's the guy you're focusing on, he doesn't look at these relationships as closely as maybe they do with each other. I don't know if that's supposed to be intentional, and I just had the revelation right now. Then sure, then that's great. But I don't buy that if that is supposed to be the case. Speaking of that whole thing, a lot of issues with Jimmy. So 1, he's 35 years. Okay, I get that he's that De Niro was older in the first place. He was not a young guy. I get that. But if he's supposed to be like 21 or whatever, when Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci's characters are being played by children, then they probably should have got another guy to play De Niro because he looks like he's like 35 then. Because I just remember like they're supposed to be 16 or whatever when they're playing by the kids. They're being played by kids, and then there's a scene when Ray Liotta meets Karen, or like he's on a date with Karen, and her voiceover's there, and she's like, he was 22. I'm like, Ray Liotta's supposed to be 22. What? Okay, that's already a huge stretch. But then how old's Jimmy supposed to be? And then, you know what I mean? And it just throws the whole thing. So I think that the age thing it's just weird, yes. But I guess the biggest gripe is just that, like, when they were kids, he should have been played by somebody else because he's not supposed to be that much older than them. From what I remember, could be way off, but I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be at least only a few years apart, but he looks ages ahead, and then, like, yeah. So that was just weird. I think everybody has that gripe, though, so that's not that big of a deal. That's movie shit. That's just how that's going to go, I guess. Whatever. You can easily make all the exact same arguments about The Irishman, so I guess it's about who's in it. And, like, so for pure clarification, as always, De Niro was a powerhouse, and, like, you know, he did an amazing thing, as always. You know, his performance was great. I think that my issues are with, like, the character specifically. I just think that that's important to clarify. From watching all these Scorsese De Niro collabs and like learning about like how De Niro was involved with so much like in writing a bunch of these, not this one I don't think, but like the lengths he goes to prepare and like all that shit. I didn't know that. I didn't assume all that because like my first De Niro experiences were like Meet the Parents just because of how old I was at the time of those coming out, and you know what I mean? Like, it's fine, and it's like, all I know is that the guy's a legend, but I don't know why. So, like, now that I kind of know why, it makes more sense than ever. I still got to figure out the Pacino thing, you know. I still haven't seen The Godfather Part 2, which is insane. I know. Please don't crucify me. It's been brutal for me. Okay, I also want to, especially because De Niro's in it. I bet he has a better performance than Pacino, regardless of what everybody says. But that's not really the point that I'm trying to get at here. So anyway, he absolutely crushed it. I just don't think that the character was there very much there. I think part of it comes from the fact, okay, he's center in the poster, right? And I get that that's like a marketing thing, and they need to make money, and like they wanted somebody other than Ray Liotta because like they needed to sell the movie or whatever, and that's fine, like the business part of it. But I don't give a fuck about the business part of it. So, just speaking artistically, he's in the center of the poster. This dude has no development or any real anything. They're just like, this guy's fucking crazy, and then like he doesn't really act that crazy. I mean, I don't know. Like Pesci's character is the one who's like off the walls and like super fucked up. They're just like, Jimmy loves stealing, and then he stole stuff, and it's like, yeah, okay. I think that that's the one area where they like use the voiceover in a negative way. I totally agree with everybody that it adds so much to this movie and like needs to be a part of it. But yeah, I think that they used it to explain all of Jimmy's character, which is not cool. And then he doesn't really act like the character that much. But like the performance that he gives with what De Niro's been given, which isn't much, is phenomenal. And I think that that's why it ends up working. I'm just saying, like, we could have used a little more Jimmy Conway, either backstory or, like, life story, because they're in these personal life things with Pesci and Ray Liotta, but they don't get into it with Jimmy so much, but he's supposed to be the third guy in their little triangle, like, mini group. So, I don't know. I just think that Jimmy's relationship with them and their whole thing, that's what I think just was lacking in the movie. But then, like, yeah, the more I just realized, like, once the cocaine is introduced, how everyone's talking faster and how crazy everything is, like, subtly, like, obviously the thing where it takes him all day to make the pasta and he just goes in and out, like, obviously that's a whole coke thing and that's fucking perfectly done and unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, basically, I just wanted to go over those those are my tiny little complaints on it. That's about all I got. I think the movie's flawless after that. Other than that, not after that, but I don't really understand The helicopter thing, like if they are fake or real, because then they end up finding out that they were under surveillance. I guess it was just so you think that they might be fake, right? Yeah, I'm pretty stupid. That's obvious. Anyway, so moving on. Yeah, absolute masterpiece. I love it. Probably not number one Scorsese for me. I think I'd still have to go Raging Bull. But then again, I'm still missing a lot. You know, like I've only seen the majors. Um, I gotta go back and watch a bunch. I've seen a lot of the modern ones. You know, like Aviator and On, pretty much. But yeah, I got to go back and watch a lot of the old ones. So we'll see how it goes there. But I just don't see Raging Bull being topped because every time I see that, I think it's better and better. And yeah, absolutely love it. I would say that probably by default is the best sports movie of all time, but it's really a drama movie that revolves around sport. So it's like a weird gray area. You know, but I guess there's hardly any movies that are truly sports movies, and the ones that are kind of suck. You know what I mean? Like Miracle, I guess there's a lot of drama in that too. I mean, I understand like to make a movie, it has to either be like a comedy or drama. Like there has to be a genre around it. But I guess movies that focus on the sports side of it more is what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Because Raging Bull's about Jake LaMotta. It's not about boxing, if that makes sense, which it does, because I said it, bitch. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, you know, because other than that, then you're getting into like Field of Dreams is technically a sports movie, and like I could put that up there. Basically, just give me some more Ray Liotta, right? There's not enough Ray Liotta out there. He's phenomenal. You go, Ray Liotta. I love you. Is this heaven? You know? Tell me that doesn't bring a tear into your eye. It's Iowa. Somebody take me to the Field of Dreams White Sox game. Come on, guys. Let's take a trip. Anyway, I'm real excited about that. I think that's one of the coolest things ever. And I love when movies like are so dope that they have to blend into reality. Like Field of Dreams to this day is so sick that they're playing a major league game at that field in a farm. Now, baseball definitely needs all the help it can get. So, it's not necessarily a move of, hey, we're just being dope. It's a little bit desperate, probably, but that's okay. Like, whatever it takes. Because I definitely think that that's where, like, NHL's Winter Classic spawned out of. There's no way that they were like, okay, how do we break into a new market? They're like, how do we save... How do we get something out of this? Because we are not making the kind of money we should be making. That's definitely where I think that came from. That was like, what is the craziest shit we could come up with that'll hopefully really work, even though it sounds, you know what I mean? Because that idea sounds dumb. Hey, on New Year's Day, we're gonna pick one of the coldest places we can find, and we're gonna put a game outside where nobody can really see it that close. How does that sound? And everybody's like, fuck it. Let's go. You know, on paper, it sounds both awesome and terrible. And I think usually if that's the case, any like $1 billion place probably won't, business won't do the terrible part. Like if there's any terrible part on their end, it's because those risks are pretty bad. You know, I think and then like what happens if it's unseasonably warm? I get that they're prepared and everything, and they did it really well. I'm just saying. I think that there's a lot of red flags that came up in those meetings, and they're like, "Dude, we need the cash," and they're like, "Yeah, you're right. Let's do it. Fuck it." And it ended up being awesome. And now they just do it like a bunch of times a year. Still, I think, right? I don't know, because you can't watch hockey pretty much anywhere. So what a disaster that whole league is. It's a shame. But you know, you sign your own fucking contracts. It's not my job to feel sorry for you. It's your job to do shit right. So take that, NHL. But yeah, there should be more games outside for everybody. I think that it would be dope to do like an outdoor basketball thing. Like, it would be weird, sure. But I mean, like, the season goes into spring. Like, do a spring game outside. That'd be fun. You know, especially if it's like towards the end of the season, who gives a fuck? You know, or like the Lakers could play outside every day. Wouldn't matter. I just think that in certain markets that you know what I mean? If your attendance sucks, fill up the football stadium across the street one day. Just do it like that. Especially if it's a place with a retractable roof. Worst case scenario, you close the fucking roof. You know, and you know what I mean? You try to make it a whole event. Like, why isn't the All-Star game should be outside? But then it would have to be in a warm place every time, right? So I guess some years it should be inside, some years it should be outside, whatever. But I think that, like, if it dictates it, why not? You know, hold the All-Star game in LA, keep the roof open. Let's see how it works in a stadium environment too. Like, would that be more fun, less fun, whatever? I'd like to find out. But see, like, they're not in any mode to be desperate. All of the NBA's moves are super calculated. Like, they did the esports league that's brilliant, and it's like totally connecting with like the current like, you know what I mean? Everything they're doing makes sense. Like, there's a lot more internet presence and blah 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 blah. Internet, but you know what I mean? They're doing everything they can to be modern, but none of it's desperate. You know what I mean? Like, playing a game outside isn't desperation, or is desperation, but that's not modern necessarily. Like, it doesn't really benefit their initiatives in any way. But I just think that would be a cool thing. But places don't do cool things unless they're desperate, usually. Or whatever. Shower me with a million examples of when people just did dope shit to do it. That's even better. That's all I'm trying to say here. So if you got a dope idea, fucking run that shit, bro. I don't like, if I'm Google, I'm buying everything, just like Disney is. Like, Disney, as much as it is frightening me, because it's just like, stop owning all the stuff I like because you're going to ruin it. Because don't do that. I don't want that family shit. You know what I mean? I don't want everything to be fucking family shit. Get that shit out of here, you know? But like, they're doing it right. It's like, swallow up everything. Eat it all. Like, why are you letting any competition happen? You can just own all the good shit. You know what I mean? I would rather be owning dope shit. Like, if I'm McDonald's, I would buy Burger King or whatever, if those financials are possible. You know what I mean? Like, why are you not eating up whatever you can eat up? Doesn't have, you know what I mean? I have no business acumen of any kind. So maybe everything I'm saying doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's impossible. Whatever. I've been pretty incoherent this entire time. And I apologize if this has been a terrible grading listen for you. For whatever reason, I'm just completely out of sorts. Too much caffeine. I'm sitting down, and I wish I wasn't. Maybe that's part of it. My mind is running for me. The time has flown by, though. So say what you will about that. But I think that's one of the beautiful things about this I won't say platform, but this form of whatever you want to call this. If you want to call it content, that's fine. I'm content to call it content. Haha. Little bit of English banter there. Sorry for you non-native speakers. I just blew your mind there with a homophone? Homonym? Homophone. I don't know. That wasn't a homophone because they don't sound the same. What's it called when they're just spelled the same? Probably someone who learned English as a second language would know what that's called. And not some dumb fuck like me who just forgets everything. Anyway. Isn't that weird how we know less about everything we think we know the most about? Like American people? God, we're the worst. I really don't blame everybody else. I'm sorry. You know. Right now I'm speaking on behalf of America just to everybody else. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. You know, like, some of us maybe aren't like that. We probably are. You know, you hate me too. That's fine. Everybody does. But, yeah, I mean, like, the thing is that if I keep this up, like I fully intend to, and, you know, pretty much have been. And, you know, not all of them are going to be winners, ladies and gentlemen. But fuck it. Sorry for putting out weak shit sometimes. It's just how it's going to go. You know, some days I'm not up to par. But at the same time, I probably shouldn't acknowledge that I'm not a fan of what I've just been doing. Yeah, that kind of sucks. But hey, you know, You know what they say? When you want honesty, you go listen to RFAT, right? Because nobody's telling it like it is anymore. Somebody tell it like it is, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's telling it like it is," and I'm like, "Yep, yep, yep." And sometimes the way it is that I suck. So, you may that may be a reason for you to jump ship and realize you're not backing the right horse here. But you know, somebody at some point probably doubted Secretariat. And if I've learned anything, it's that you do not for a fucking second doubt Secretariat. Um, he or she, whatever, went through a lot, maybe, as a horse. I don't know what it's like being a horse, and I would love to find out because I do not understand them. Why are you letting people sit on your back? Even if it's not that much effort, I just don't get it. And why are their teeth like people teeth? Can someone explain to me? I don't know many animals with human flat teeth like that. Maybe we're just weird for having them. Or maybe somebody fucked a horse. Or a lot of people did at some point. You know, maybe one day I'm going to see a thing, like one of my Facebook slot machine memes that's going to tell me that in the 1700s or whatever fucking time period, horses had sharp teeth, and then it's like, oh, somehow over time they flattened. But what that meme isn't telling me is that it's because a bunch of dudes fucked a bunch of horses and we got human teeth. And then somehow that's it. I don't know. There's got to be an explanation for horse teeth. But, like, do they need to wear shoes? Is it actually better? Is it just a thing we do for them? I don't know. Maybe I would like to learn a lot more about horses. So please direct me to any good horse information that won't take up too much of my time because I'm not actually that interested. But, yeah, justice for horses. or maybe not. I don't know. You know? I have so many questions. I have so many questions. They could kill us all. They weigh so much. Why are you... It's just weird. But then, like, you can't do anything about a wolf? Not necessarily that, I understand that it's more of a predator and it's, like, got sharp teeth, right? So, like, if a horse didn't have the Billy Bob fuck teeth, it would be a threat? But 2,000 pounds, runs like lightning, can crush your head, no problem. Not a threat because they don't have teeth? I'm just saying, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. Somebody did something somewhere. And I don't think we talk about it nearly enough. So, hashtag justice for horses. Let's make that my new campaign. Do you think that you could run for mayor of a small town? Like, imagine there's a town. Well, I'm sure there's plenty of them because this country's ridiculous. Where it's a big horse town, not a one horse town. There's a lot of horses in this town, and it's a big part of the community. There's like yearly horse pageants. The whole town shuts down. It's like Texas with football, except you're in Wyoming with horses or whatever the fuck. Maybe they love buffalo. I don't really know, but not the city. I love Buffalo, the city. They have buffalo like the buffalo. You could eat them, but maybe you shouldn't. What if people ate horses? You know what I mean? The human-horse dynamic is absolutely insane. And, we just ditched them. They were our buddies, our steeds. We treated them like shit, apparently, You just let them run off mountains or whatever. You didn't, you kind of loved your horse. You guys had a bond, but, it was weird, They're like your brother you didn't want to take with you, but, you had to, I guess. But then, we race them and kill them, and then, cars came along, we're like, fuck them. And they're like, oh, well, we don't know what to do now because you guys have been, breeding us for this forever. I don't know. Leave horses alone. Or don't. Do whatever. That's the whole point that I've been trying to get at the whole time is whether you got a horse, you want a horse, just, make it happen. Make your dreams come true. So yeah, look for my book on how to treat yourself better than you would treat your horse. Uh, it's a self-help novel, and basically, go buy some mane and tail, throw your current shampoo away, and you can just kiss your fears and problems goodbye. You know, if you want a silky, shiny coat and some good oats, you go get it. And that's the lesson that we could all use. So tell your friends, tell your family. If you got any good examples of how you tamed your inner wild stallion, let me know. ourfedpodcast@gmail.com. I'm gonna wrap this up, but yeah, please come back for more of my. Who knows what animal we'll go into next week, right? Or whenever I decide to do this again. Anyway, please never forget that I are fat, you are fat, we are fat, and calculator.